The message arrived on a Tuesday, cutting through Earth's communications network like a blade through silk. Ambassador Kethavar of the Galactic Council materialized as a hologram in the United Nations Assembly Hall, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's lights into prismatic patterns across the walls. Humans of Earth, his voice resonated with the authority of 1,000 worlds. The Galactic Council has deliberated. Your species has been found problematic. Secretary General Maria Santos stood from her seat, her weathered hands gripping the podium. Around her, representatives from every nation watched in tense silence. Problematic how? She asked, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Kethavar's form shimmered as data streams flowed around him. You wage war upon yourselves while claiming to seek peace. You destroy your own habitat while proclaiming environmental concern. You speak of unity while maintaining divisions. Most concerning of all, you refuse to submit to superior authority. The hologram gestured and images filled the air. Human conflicts, pollution, protests, defiance. Every species that joins the Council learns submission. It is the foundation of galactic peace. You have been observed for 50 of your years. The verdict is unanimous. Santos felt the eyes of humanity upon her. And what does the Council propose? Compliance protocols will be installed across your planet. Resistance will be met with pacification. Your military forces will be dissolved. Your governments will report to Council administrators. This is not negotiable. The Secretary General looked across the assembly, at faces representing billions of souls, each carrying the dreams and struggles of their people. She thought of her grandmother's stories about resisting fascism, of her own daughter who served in the Space Marines, of every human who had ever looked at tyranny and said no. Ambassador, Santos said quietly, I believe you've misunderstood something fundamental about humanity. Enlighten me. Santos smiled, and it was not a gentle expression. We've never been good at submission. The transmission ended with a soft chime, leaving the assembly in absolute silence. Then Santos reached for her secure communicator. Admiral Chen, initiate defiance protocol. All fleets, all stations, all defensive platforms. Tell them the Council wants our submission. She paused, her voice hardening. Tell them humanity answers with fire and steel. 3 months later, the Council's first pacification fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Zixthara commanded the force from his flagship, the Inevitable, 2 kilometers of advanced technology and a crew that had never known defeat. Initial scans, Navigator, Zixthara commanded from his bridge throne. Sir, detecting massive debris fields throughout the system. Unknown composition also. Admiral, I'm reading weapon signatures unlike anything in our databases. Through the viewports, they could see it, a graveyard of twisted metal drifting in the void. But not random debris, deliberate constructions, fortifications. What manner of primitive defenses? Zixthara began, then stopped as proximity alarms screamed. The asteroid belt erupted. Rocks that had drifted for millennia suddenly blazed with engine fire, revealing themselves as massive kinetic weapons. Hidden bases opened like flowers of death, launching swarms of missiles that moved with impossible precision. And from behind the moon came something that made Zixthara's blood freeze: human warships. They were ugly things by galactic standards, no elegant curves or artistic flourishes. They were metal and angles, bristling with weapons, scarred from battle. They moved like predators and they struck like lightning. Admiral Chen's voice crackled across all frequencies. Council Fleet, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. You were warned. We don't submit. We fight. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, debris from the Council Fleet joined humanity's deliberately scattered defenses. And Admiral Zixthara found himself in a human detention facility, staring across a metal table at Admiral Chen herself. Impossible, he whispered. We are the Council. We command 1,000 worlds. Chen poured herself coffee from a thermos, the casual gesture somehow more intimidating than any threat. You know what you are? You're bullies. You've spent so long dealing with species that roll over and show their belly that you forgot something important. Which is? Some dogs bite back. Chen leaned forward. Your 1,000 worlds? They submitted because they were alone, scared, facing something bigger than themselves. But humans? We've been fighting things bigger than ourselves since we climbed down from trees. God's nature, tyranny, each other doesn't matter. We see something that wants to crush us, and we get creative about crushing it first. Zixthara's crystalline features rippled with confusion. But why? Submission brings peace, order, prosperity under council guidance. Chen laughed, a sound devoid of humor. You want to know why? Because my grandmother told me stories about jackbooted thugs who promised order in exchange for freedom. Because my daughter deserves to live free or die trying. Because every human child learns that sometimes the only choice is to fight. Even when you can't win. You cannot defeat the entire council. Watch us. Chen stood, her shadow falling across the alien admiral. See, you made one critical error in your calculations. You assumed we were like your other subjects, isolated, without allies. But here's the thing about humans, we don't just fight. We inspire others to fight too. Through the facility's windows, Zixthara could see ships arriving, vessels from a dozen different species, all bearing the same broadcast signature, Free World Stand with Earth. Chen's smile was sharp as broken glass. Turns out when word spreads that someone actually said no to the council and backed it up with firepower, a lot of folks remember what freedom feels like. Your empire of submission? It's about to learn that fire and steel spread faster than fear. As alarms began sounding across human space, not warnings of attack, but calls to battle from allies across the galaxy, Admiral Chen left Zixthara alone with the terrible understanding that humanity hadn't just refused submission. They had started a revolution, and revolutionaries, as the council was about to learn, only knew one way to answer tyranny, with fire and steel, until freedom rang across every star.